All right, I think we can get started. We ready to roll, everyone? All right,
Yes, sir.
fantastic. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. Super excited. A great set of panelists today. Our webinar is the 2025 mobile app landscape. Who's winning? What's next? I'm thrilled everyone here has joined us. Right now, as we speak, the mobile app industry is experiencing nothing short of a revolution. We're witnessing unprecedented convergence of artificial intelligence, shifting user behaviors, and intensifying competition that's fundamentally reshaping how we think about mobile experiences. Users are spending more time in apps than ever before, but we're also becoming increasingly selective about which apps earn a place on our own phones. Meanwhile, AI has moved from a nice to have to an absolute necessity, and the bar for personalization and user experience has reached new heights. So today we've assembled this amazing set of industry experts who are on the front line of these changes. They'll help us answer the essential questions every developer, marketer, and business leader is asking. Which companies' strategies are actually winning in this new environment? What emerging trends should you be betting on? And most importantly, how can you position yourself not just to survive, but to thrive in this rapidly evolving system? So for the next hour, we'll unpack all of this. We'll decode these strategies. We'll give some insights that you can implement immediately. So let's get started. I'll introduce each of the panelists here, and then myself, and then we'll get started. So joining us, we have Asaf Yani, CEO of Alison.ai. Asaf, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, sure. Hi, guys. How are you? My name is Asaf Yani. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Alison.ai. Very briefly, my background is purely within online marketing and advertising. And Alison is my third company that I'm co-founding, but the one that I'm most passionate about and the one with the highest potential, and that's for sure. And I think there's going to be a very exciting discussion, a very exciting webinar, and I'm excited myself.
Fantastic. Thank you, Asaf. Also joining us, key account manager from SocialPeta, Shatai Gokash.
Hello, everyone. First of all, welcome. My name is Shatai, and I'm key account manager for SocialPeta as a leading competitive intelligence platform for mobile marketeers. So at SocialPeta, I partner with top brands and developers to decode market trends, optimize advertising strategies, and scale user growth using real-time global data. So every day, I analyze the exact trends we are discussing today, which apps are winning downloads, where ad dollars are flowing, how creatives drive disruption. So I am thrilled to share actionable insights from our latest data and explore what is the next in mobile landscape.
Awesome. Thanks. Thank you. Appreciate that. Joining us from co-founder at PlayableMaker, Andre Munzberger. Andre.
Yep. Hello, guys. Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here with this amazing group of people. So my background is in product management, in gaming, in startups, in mobile applications. But recently, we have this small startup called PlayableMaker. So I'm the co-founder of it. Most of our clients are from gaming, but not all of them. So we've got some insights from, let's say, both point of views. And looking forward to today's discussions. I'm looking forward to what I will learn, but hopefully you will learn something from me as well.
Fantastic. Thank you, Andre. And last but not least, joining us, I think from New York this week. I'm not sure where you are, Evelyn. Evelyn Herrera, founder, Apps and Games M&A. Quick introduction.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. And yeah, that's what I do, Apps and Games M&A. And yes, I'm in New York City.
All right. Fantastic. Fantastic. So I'm Rob Kramer. I'll be your host today. I work for a company called Appnomix, and we're a mobile commerce technology company headquartered in New York. And we help app publishers unlock new revenue streams as they move from mobile app to mobile web. It's a completely new type of Commerce SDK, and we connect over 50,000 merchants and 1 billion products, helping users get the best deal when they leave a publisher's app and they start shopping on mobile web. So excited to be here. Let's jump in. We've got lots of questions, lots to cover. So this question's for everybody on the panel, and we'll just go around the room and we'll ask, and we'll keep this conversation open and flowing. So in the past year, what's been the most unexpected shift in how mobile apps are marketed or discovered, whether in terms of UA, right, user acquisition channels, creative strategies, or how platforms are prioritizing visibility and engagement? Evelyn, we'll start with you.
Yes, so definitely TikTok influencer marketing is a trend that I'm seeing for consumer apps, subscription apps. And the why is because of two things. One is the knowledge of the new founders. So founders who are under 25 years old, they know about TikTok because they were born with these social media channels, but they don't know about Facebook, PayDway, for example, or any other like Moloco, any other very hard like DSP that you can think of. They don't know, they don't have that knowledge, but they know about TikTok. So that's one of the reasons why. And the other one is the cost per install is extremely low in comparison to other paid UA channels. We are seeing cost per installs of 30 cents, 45 cents in health and fitness, photo and video, which is huge in tier 1 countries. So that's one of the big changes that I see, TikTok organic and influencer marketing. And the other one for creatives, I think before it was like doing as many creatives as you can, just making as many changes as you can in each one of the versions, and then running all of them with paid UA. But now what founders are doing is first posting organically, like literally just making a post on TikTok, making a post on IG, and then the posts that actually get virality, they use for paid UA. So the creative testing now has one more step, which is organically first. And if it performs well in an organic way, then you do paid UA. And I think that's extremely interesting because the cost of like testing creatives is way lower if you do organic first. It's literally a cost is zero to test.
Oh, interesting. Let me jump back to the first thing that you mentioned around TikTok. So how does a marketer find influencers? Like, how do you go about engaging with an influencer? Because that cost per acquisition is pretty attractive, right?
That's such a good question. And maybe founders that don't have experience with TikTok influencer marketing, they think that you need to go to TikTok and like DM each one of the influencers and convince them to work with you. So it's that super tedious and like hard thing to unlock. But actually what founders are doing is having referral programs that work just like affiliate, where creators can submit their profiles. And even if you're not a huge influencer, you might be good at doing videos, just like selfie videos. You might get attention on TikTok, even if you're not famous per se. So they have these inbound programs where they onboard tons of creators, like dozens every week, and then they pay in a performance basis. So these creators get incentivized to keep creating content because it's like affiliate marketing, and they can bring their friends, and you have kind of a Ponzi scheme, but it's legal, right? Like at the end of the day, they are getting paid. And if they bring their friends, they also get a commission from their friends. So it's like this Ponzi scheme of creators. And it becomes interesting because then they talk with their friends and they just bring all of their friends. And if you think about it, it's more like network based. So they unlock per city or per university, like bring 2 popular girls from one university, and then the girls are going to convince the rest of the group. Then bring 2 guys from the sports club, they are going to convince the rest, and so on.
That's super interesting. One more follow-up question on that is, do we know yet if that channel has a higher retention? So if I'm getting influenced by somebody, I'm more likely to install, right? But am I more likely to keep the app on my device?
That's such a good question. So the conversion rate to paying user is way higher because they come with that like shot of dopamine to convert. But the retention might be lower, but that is because it's like a trend that most of the founders that know how to scale TikTok influencer marketing are not as experienced on products. So maybe this is their third app that they launched. They have been in the industry only for 1 year. So the product is not as optimized. And that's why they are not staying. Not because the user cannot pay, but because the product is not there yet to retain the user for more than 3 or 6 months.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, it seems like a really effective channel to try. Like you need to try it. It seems really effective.
And if your product is good enough, the LTV is gonna be there. The issue that I'm seeing is that the products are not ready.
They're not ready. Yeah. Fantastic. I'll go to you, Chatai, with because you see a lot of data, right, across all the different aspects of what more from the ad side, right? What sort of trends are you seeing on in the data that you guys are collecting?
Actually, very interesting to see that there's the most unexpected shift in the past year has been the slowdown in the traditional paid user acquisition for AI and AIGC apps, alongside major toward hyperlocal and niche engagement strategies. So I agree with them on that side. So from our Q1 data, we have seen that AI advertising actually declined globally. For example, for the United States, so 59% drop in active advertisers, despite still generating highest volume of creatives on that side. So what's interesting in that there are fewer advertisers overall, but the creatives per advertiser ratio is increased. So meaning that companies are testing and iterating more aggressively on fewer but high performing campaigns. Another shift is in creative formats and lengths, actually. So video creatives are now make up to 83% of all AI ads at the moment, and 50% of them are between 50 seconds and 30 seconds range. So it reflects the TikTok style storytelling that users now expect even more productivity or YouTube effects. So beyond paid ads, we are also seeing that organic discovery making a comeback thanks to algorithm-driven content platforms. For example, lightweight AI tools like Monica Nota gained attraction in Asia, primarily through KOL-driven campaigns and meme-like social virality. So this is a huge change compared to 2022 and 23 era, where almost all scaling relied heavily on Meta and Google on UAC campaigns. So from a platform side, there is also a noticeable shift towards prioritizing retention metrics over the raw instance for visibility. So this means that marketers now have to think not just about attracting a user, but keeping them engaged long enough to boost ranking signals. So finally, I want to add the AI-driven localization has become a huge differentiator, and apps that tailor creatives with cultural references, especially local slang, local humor, and even the region-specific pain points convert much better. So this hyper-personalized approach wasn't mainstream last year, but is now a proven level for conversion. I think that is going to be next thing in this category.
Yeah, that's amazing data. The way I think about it in my head is what Evelyn was saying, right? If you think of influencer, right, it's kind of personalized because you're following somebody. It's very a personal experience that you have with this influencer. And then on sort of the paid advertising side, right, we're seeing more personalization, better personalization, because users expect that, right? They're probably expecting a more organic relationship with that advertiser. On to speaking of AI, let's jump to Asaf. Like, what are you seeing on what sort of shifts are you seeing on your side of the business?
So yeah, thank you. First, I'm going to touch mainly on the creative aspect, of course. Yeah. But I'll tell you one thing. I think that the main shift that we've seen this year, and I think we're seeing more and more of this shift, is that now advertisers and brands understand an important thing. That, by the way, they didn't understand it last year. It's fresh from 2025, and I think it's going to carry over to the next few years, which is that creative data, this is the most powerful, most important data set you own. And I think that's the shift. So first, it's a shift in mentality, and it's a shift in strategy, and a shift in understanding of, okay, what do we have in front of us in terms of our marketing, in terms of our advertising? We have campaigns, we have platforms. The way to get there, we have creatives. And I think they understand that this is where the focus needs to be, on extracting valuable data, analyzing crucial and important data comes directly from creatives. So again, this is, we can call it a trend, we can call it a change in mentality, we can call it maybe something else, but I think that's a major trend that is happening within advertisers and within the big brands. Now, a follow-through to this, it's not just how important the creative data is, it's how do we tap into it, right? So I think that now advertisers understand that there's no one size fits all. It's I don't know, 2016, 2020, whatever we want to call it. But now there's no one size fits all. Because with every platform, from TikTok to Google to Meta, etc., even within their internal placements and within their internal platforms or sub-platforms, still, there's no way that one size fits all. Because a creative on Messenger will not work the same as a creative on Instagram, and they're both Meta. So I think that understanding that creative data is the most important data you own, and then trickle down to how does it look like when we come up with our new creative strategy? How do we change? How do we iterate? How do we shift our mindset towards shift in production as well? So first thing, as I said, is that one size does not fit all, and you have to really tailor and customize and personalize your creatives to fit the most narrow use case and the most narrow audience you can. Then there's, if you go down, not just on the platform, now we spoke about how we kind of adapt or how we iterate creatives to fit specific platforms or placements, but also within the creative itself, if it's a video, and now we're seeing that 95% of the creatives are actually videos, short form or 30 seconds or 45 seconds, but it's still videos, still short form videos. And also, it's not enough to look at a video as a complete asset. We have to look at the hooks scene, the core scene, the end scene, and so on, because again, different platforms and different users behave or interact or engage differently with the creatives. So again, long story short, I think first thing is that creative data, that's the most important thing. Then how do we utilize this creative data to personalize or fit specific platforms so we can really maximize performance and not just average? And then is how do we actually build those creatives to fit different audiences, users, and even unique selling propositions within the creatives in terms of the different scenes. So obviously, us at Allison, we have those data sets, and we help our customers decode or uncover those data sets. And actually what we're seeing is that once they understand, once this trend is trickling down, they can grasp it, they can understand, and they can strategize based on this, then it becomes a no-brainer. Like sometimes, you know, our customers come to us and say, hey, why we didn't think about it last year? The technology existed last year. Like, why are we only speaking about this year, and why only in July and not in January? I mean, so I think that it really is a trend. And by the way, I'm sure Andre and Evelyn and you, Robert, I'm sure you're feeling it as well. But we're feeling a lot of momentum, a lot of interest coming to us directly from the market. The amount of inbound leads and amount of interest that we got last year, okay, this year is about 50 times greater. So it's definitely something that is, you know, that is happening and shifting.
That's amazing. And it ties to Shatai's data, right? So the hyper-personalization aspects create better performance, right? end of game, right? But you need data, and we'll get back to that because I've got some more questions for you on that. Andre, to give us, your perspective, right? Playable ads or playable experiences that drive better user acquisition. Maybe to walk us through what you're seeing on your side as well.
Yeah, I mean, I would use it as a nice segue from what Asaf was saying, because he was pretty on spot. But I would call it maybe differently in our perspective. I would call it simple quantity. So we really see the scale, the quantum of content that are being produced, not just playables, but also images, videos. So users finally understand that with tools like, of course, AI tools, with tools like our tool, with other tools, you don't have just the access to data, but also the quantity of use cases that you might create, and then basically use them for different cohorts. As I've said, basically everything else work on different cohorts and different plays at different time and different space and so on and so on. So really the biggest trend is that, the more creatives are used on more platforms, the more data they become, and better, let's say, quantitative decisions can be made. And finally, we see a lot of, let's say, I would even call it aha moments on a lot of our calls or demos when the people on the other side, the customers or potential customers, they're like, so I don't need to create one thing, I don't need to create two things, but I need to really like push things out, test, because a lot of times very surprising type of content might work for cohorts that I not even realized before. So this is definitely the biggest shift that we see. One more shift that is not related to our tool or to playable ads or anything else is also I have seen a lot of content made from, let's say, indie developers and developers that are creating like testing apps, let's say, stuff like that. I think it's similar to what was said in the beginning. They are trying social media and community style of marketing without basically a budget, and testing first the ideas, the game concepts, and whatever. And you can use playable ads for that, but you can use any type of content for that. So these two shifts. So quality with quantity, and of course the, let's say, low budget social media A/B testing. We see this a lot.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, we'll dive back into that. I've got some questions for you around that A/B testing aspects of it. Let's jump to some very specific questions. I'll start with you, Evelyn. I know you work very closely with app founders and growth teams across a wide range of categories. And by the way, your blog and what you post is pretty amazing. So if anyone's hasn't followed Evelyn, definitely follow her. She's got some cool stuff she's working on. As you look at the landscape in 2025, what patterns are you seeing in those apps? And what sort of are you seeing, like which is growing the fastest or attracting the most user attention in maybe it's a specific category or types of apps? And then are any specific growth tactics? I know we talked about TikTok and IG or any other product strategies that stick out to you as we move into 2026.
Such a good question. A trend that I'm seeing that is working well and users really like is a single feature app. So an app where you can only do one single thing. Like the perfect example is SocialPeta, where you can only like take a picture of your food and get the calories. Done. That's it. Users I see that we, and I include myself, we are becoming more like idiots in the way that we consume content and tools and everything. Like from my side, I want everything to be one click. And if it takes me more than one click, then it's extremely slow. Talking about like tools and just daily things. And the same is for users in their mobile phones. Like if they need to do tons of things to use your app, then it becomes too like old school, right? The old way of like, going to Google and searching. Now you just want to ask ChatGPT voice command. You don't even need to type. So it's the same reflected on apps. They want like easier user experience, easier, more effective, faster. And that also helps user acquisition because it's way easier to tell the message of like what is the value proposition of your app if you have a single feature that is very useful and very clear to just reflect in a creative. Because you literally have like 15 seconds of attention and only the first 2 seconds are relevant. So you need to like in 2 seconds show what your app does. So single feature apps is one of the trends. The other one is hard paywalls. So before the last like maybe 5 to 10 years, it was all about premium models. But now I'm seeing that hard paywalls are converting way better. And this is also because they have really good creatives. So the user comes with this hype. with this dopamine hit, and they are ready to convert. So a hard paywall works. You don't give them like a premium type of experience. It's either hard paywall or hard paywall with free trial, and that's it. But they cannot stay with the app for free. And there was one more I forgot. But yeah,
That's
those
okay.
two.
If you think about it, let us know. Is it going to be harder? You brought up a really good thing, and I was just thinking about it in my head. The ease of going to like a Claude or Gemini or ChatGPT to do certain things, does it get harder for an app developer to actually compete with that, right? Because it's getting much easier to maybe go to a ChatGPT app to get things done, to do whatever you're trying to do versus building a very specific app for a specific use case.
Yes. So I think there are two answers to this. And one is that people don't know how much they can do with the big AI apps. Like they don't know the capabilities of ChatGPT. For example, for all the like plant identifier apps, that it's definitely a trend right now and it's monetizing very well, you can just do that with ChatGPT, with Grok, with any of them. But maybe a user just don't imagine that they can do that. And if they see an ad, like if they are scrolling on Meta and they usually consume content related to plants, and they just see your app, maybe they're going to install it anyways. So I think it's depending on like targeting, if you're doing good targeting. If the user is still searching on the store, like plant identifier, find my plants, whatever, and they find your app, they're going to install it. So I think wrappers still work if you have good positioning, if you have good marketing. And by wrappers, I mean things that the user can do with any normal AI tool, but they are using your app instead. So it's like a wrapper of AI that already exists. So yeah, if you have good positioning, good marketing, and then the usage of the app per se has good quality, like you scan the plant and actually it gives you like an accurate result. You just get good reviews and people trust you, and you can become like the top app for a specific use case. And if the experience is better than ChatGPT, then it makes sense too. So I think those apps are gonna stay. They are never gonna win as much market share as ChatGPT has, right? Yeah. But they are still gonna monetize well and be successful companies.
That's super interesting. Yeah, we'll get back to that because I have more questions about, I mean, AI, right? AI in general and how to leverage it to build new products and features. So we'll chat about that in a second. But back to you, Andre. So we talked a little bit about you mentioned sort of the volume of data now that we have, or the volume of assets available to create a good sort of path for better user acquisition or better engagement. I mean, how do you see the role, well, specifically for playable ad formats evolving in 2025? And as it's, we talk about paywalls, we talk about all these other methods, right, to get a user to engage. How are the playable ad formats, positioned to perform this year and into next year?
Yeah, well, mostly again, the quantity would be the key aspect here. I think in the last panel that SocialPeta had 3 weeks ago about playable, as Ivan Razmakov said it very nicely, that companies, not just mobile games, but also mobile applications, realize that, okay, playable is no longer the thing where I show everything, show whole application, show all the flows, all core mechanics, not even core mechanics, but all the other mechanics. I have got one perfect playable, and then I will use it for 3 months and say, okay, it was good, bad, or something else that I finish. But more focus on smaller things. So really focus on part of the mechanics of your game, testing longer playables, testing shorter playables, testing sad endings, happy endings, testing completely irrelevant stuff. Like, as you can see, Temu is an Asian e-commerce giant. They are testing playables that are soccer, like playing penalties or playing a puzzle game, completely irrelevant to their business. But they are still doing it, and obviously for one reason, because it works, because it catches your attention. Doesn't matter if it's relevant or relevant. I'm not saying that this is the only way to go, but the message here will be, you should go with everything. You should go with the full scale playables. You should go with video playables. You should go with very let's say, short playable, with easy ones, with complicated ones. You will try, you will learn, and you will basically see whatever works on, again, as was mentioning before, on different markets, even different devices, even different places, and even different cohorts. In terms of creativity, this is at least what I see in our customers. There's a big shift between, let's call it simply, Western and Eastern markets, so Asia and these parts. They are really going for quantity. I already see it in our customers, in other tools where I measure some data for like even competitive playables. They really go hundreds of playables, just boom, I will create it. This is the simple one. This is the complicated one. Let's test. Let's see. While otherwise, the Western part of the market, they still have this kind of a, let's say, maybe it's kind of old school thinking, where I'm trying to achieve this best playable, so it will 100% show everything, that it's transparent, it's nice, it's always what you should go for, but it will be like 10% of your success if you don't utilize all of the others, all of the other types of playables, and all of the other, maybe sometimes even surprising things. We have one customer that converted UGC content, so user-generated content, into a playable with some sort of simple interaction, and it was working for them, and it was not working for 9 other customers. So you really need to go out and, if you have a budget for it, to play around with it and to test it, because now, never than before, the creation of content and even playables is really on your fingertips. You just need to utilize it and create as much as possible, so you can get the decisions that are right for you.
That's in my head, I'm thinking it's overwhelming, right? The amount of data, and as a sort of a, to test all these different things. And this is probably a question, sort of follow-up question for both you and Asaf. Like, where do you begin? Like, how do I start looking at this data? How do I start to understand the data? How do I iterate on these types of creative? How do I do that?
Asaf, we want to go? Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, Andre, go ahead, man.
No, I mean, I have a more simple answer, because our tool is not that data driven as yours. So you will elaborate a little bit, but of course everything starts with defining your goal. It doesn't matter what are you trying to achieve, but you need to first define your goal for your campaign, and then you measure it comparing to this key KPI, and then you make the decision. So it's pretty simple. And in terms of playable ads, if you want to installs, if you want retention, if you want, I don't know, save budget, whatever it is, but you need to make a clear decision of what is it you are trying to achieve, and then you just compare, test, iterate, and you'll see if you are achieving what you are trying to achieve. That's simple as that.
Got it.
Go ahead, please. You're the better one here.
Yeah, for sure. So I think as a follow through on this, and maybe one comment before for the audience, and it's a true story, by the way. But before I even came up with the Alison concept, I sat with my dad, my father. Okay, he's almost 70. He was a very experienced marketer in the 80s. And then I asked him, like, back then in the 80s, how did you test campaigns? Creatives was never a thing back then, but how did you test campaigns? So he looked at me in a very funny way and he said, Asaf, it's simple. We A/B test. And if you think about it, and this is what, every single brand, every single company is doing, not for decades, for even more than this. And exactly the same process or methodology hasn't changed at all. And I think this is a fundamental issue that we first need to address, right? What worked in the 80s, in the 90s, in the 20s, it's not going to work. Now you could do a lot more than this with a fraction of the cost and a fraction of the time. Now comes the question of how, right? How do we alleviate the stress or the overhead and the inefficiencies of running so many different iterations and so many different A/B tests, so we can zoom in to what's actually working? So I think that the first thing is decoding creatives. Today, creatives, the assets themselves, they're like a black box, right? We know very little things about the creative if we look at a creative. But AI has given us a phenomenal gift, a phenomenal present, which is the ability to analyze and accumulate billions and billions and billions of data points and come up with a very clear, precise answer within fractions of milliseconds even. And I think this is the key. The key is not looking at the creative as a unit, as an asset, or as a whole. The key is looking at individual features, individual elements within the creatives themselves, the logo, the colors, the backgrounds, the CTA, the characters, the themes, the rooms, the sound, the voiceover, basically everything the influences, the messaging, the things that we just talked about. But then if you break it down to those elements and you look at it in a big data at scale, and you go one level up and say, okay, let's see how those features are actually correlated with performance. And then once they're correlated, then it's like the holy grail of creative production and creative strategies, because this is the first moment you realize, like, oh my God, I don't need to create so many different versions because I already know what I should be zooming in to, right? So it narrows down this audience or the group of creatives from tens or hundreds to a few units. And then comes a tough question of, okay, now we have a few units, few assets that we really think that are going to drive our best performance. How do we make sure that they're optimizing, that they're optimized? How do we make sure that these creatives will actually yield the expected performance? And this correlates back to what I just said earlier. If we then tailor the creative, iterate the creative for the different media platforms and sub-platforms, but also to the users and the unique selling proposition that we're trying to convey, I think that's the key. So, and again, sorry if I'm being maybe too high levelly, but what I'm trying to say here is that I think that today marketers have to utilize AI. You can use Alison.ai, you can use other companies, you can build your own stack, you can do it, freestyle at your own pace, but you have to do it. You have to do it, not just for the sake of moving forward and not staying in the past, but also for the sake of actually understanding what's driving performance. And I can tell you that we work with extremely big brands, Fortune 5, okay, among the largest companies in the world. And they are pouring millions and millions of dollars in with their own internal teams and analysts and BI and so on. But once they get the hang of it, they understand that they need to change the perception and look at those features and elements and tailor them to the unique selling proposition, the users, the markets, etc. Then it becomes so clear, even to those guys, like, again, we are pouring millions. Why aren't we pulling those millions in the right direction? And that's the key thing. Andre also mentioned, and I agree completely, that our customers, they need to test. But then comes my tough question, and I'm trying to educate everyone in the market, is how big is a test? Do we test 2? Do we test 5? Do we test 500? And I think that's where both Andre and I actually agree that if the test would be too large, too long, too expensive, then we gain nothing, right? So zooming into what's actually working, using AI to do it, it would do the trick in matter of minutes, right? For thousands of videos, it would do the trick for a matter of minutes. And then how do we also use AI, not just to guide us to the right features, but give us an expected performance or expected performance uplift? And this is something very powerful that we can use AI to kind of run tests without actually running the tests. Sometimes it's synthetic data, sometimes it's reinforcement data, and sometimes it's other types of data. But how can we really look at different tests, or how can we run tests without spending a single dollar? And I think this is also where the industry is going. Like globally, we're seeing it with Veil 3, Google, we're seeing it with OpenAI and others. Everyone is moving towards that direction of making this entire workflow completely autonomous and understandable.
That's a great answer. Yeah. It would appear that if you're not doing this today, that you've already been left behind. Right? You have to, whether it's efficiency, performance, prediction, it needs to be part of what you're doing.
Yeah, maybe even Robert, just one final thought on this. Let's say we'll speak to every CMO in the audience, every CFO in the audience. Let's ask them a theoretical question. How much are you currently spending on your headcount in UA and creative? How much are you currently spending for tools or analysts or resources or in production? Then you do the math on your own. Can you scale? Okay, if you want to do 50x as a company, is it a scalable process and procedure? If yes, fine, you've nailed it, you've cracked the code. If not, turn to AI and find better solutions.
Yeah, amazing. That I think it's a good segue to you, Shatai. So you had your latest insights highlighted the rapid rise of AI GC apps, especially in the terms of creative volume and user engagement through short form video ads. From your perspective, what's driving the success of those top apps today? And are there any specific formats, localization approaches that stand out specifically that are effective or in a specific region?
Yeah, it's a good question, Robert. So I will elaborate the things that I said at the beginning on this question. So for marketing success of today's mobile apps, especially on AIGC, is being driven by three key factors. The dominance of short-form video creatives, hyper-localization strategies, and retention-first mindset in user acquisition. So actually, I'm sorry again. So from our report, I mentioned that there's almost 80% of AI apps creatives are videos. These are all ranging 15 and 30 seconds range. So this aligns with the users consume content on TikTok, Instagram, Reels, YouTube Shorts, where storytelling has to be fast, engaging, and native to the platform. So static images are no longer drive meaningful engagements for this kind of apps. And it's not about the video actually only, it's about how you craft these videos. The most successful ads combine with KOL recommendations, strong emotional hooks, and direct problem solution storytelling. For example, the Deep6 campaign gained traction by comparing cost and performance directly with their competitors and even featuring a media SEOs to boost credibility. So second major driver is hyper-localization, which has become a clear differentiation in high-performing region. So in Asian part of the world, in Japan and South Korea, creatives featuring localized cultural references such as anime-inspired characters, local humors, or even religious artifacts, so significantly higher engagement rates. But in Southeast Asia, ads are often designed around community and aspirational themes. While in North America, value-driven messaging and clear CTAs resonate more strongly. So this shows that just translating an ad isn't enough. So it has to be deep tailored to local habits, humor, and cultural expectations. So the third driver is a retention-focused marketing. So I mentioned that before. So the Google Play and Store are now prioritizing user engagement and retention over the pure installs when ranking apps. So this shift forces marketers to think beyond one-time acquisition. Successful apps combine UA retargeting and cross-device campaigns like CTV plus mobile to nurture users over time. So in 2024, from our last report for last year on the global mobile marketing trends, you can see the highlights of how CTV is becoming a performance channel, not just a brand awareness or linking large screen engagements to install or in-app actions. So we can finally, we cannot overlook the automation and AI factor. In the past, marketers relied on heavy manual segmentations. Now audience targeting is increasingly automated by platform algorithms, especially with Google's AI-driven campaigns. It's easier now. So this has changed how apps scale. They are focusing on feeding platforms with high-quality creatives and signals rather than micromanaging targeting. So if you boil it down, there's a funnel on this one, like short form video ads with hyper-localized creatives with the help of AI-driven automation, and the retention first growth integrating using different funnels. So this combination is what's driving the current wave of high-performing mobile ad campaigns globally. As I highlighted, AI makes it. We have a feature on our platform to provide more support and services on hyper-localization on text as well, not only the static or video creatives insights. So you need to use every possible tool to have the more insights on personalized.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I feel like, I started in the early days of mobile advertising, and I just recall like we had to hard code 300 by 50 ads in the device. Like, it's horrible. And now look what we can do, right? In nanoseconds, right? You can hyper localize, hyper personalize, you can A/B test, you can run up to 500 different creative elements if you want, right? It's just mind blowing. We're almost out of time. We're going to wrap up here. I'm going to ask you each one last question, and then we'll go to Q&A. Sound good? All right. So we'll start with Evelyn. If you could bet on just one trend in mobile apps over the next 12 months, what would it be and why?
Creating great products and good experiences, definitely. Because AI is making so easy to launch new apps. So the App Store is getting extremely crowded. And the only way to stand out is if you have a good customer experience, word of mouth, or a good keyword positioning. And you can win those only if you have a high quality product. So I think that's a must. Maybe still launching tons of products to test, but quickly doubling down on the ones that show some sort of performance over the other ones, and making sure that the product is good per se, because it's going to get so crowded. Users are getting more selective. So the only way that I see to win these days is quality.
I love it. I love it. That's I think for me, I don't know how many misfired apps I've downloaded and had bad experiences. And I probably today, like you said, you could iterate, you could create many versions of it just to quickly get something in the market, but it has to be a very quality product, 100%. All right, Jatai, to you. What do you think one trend in 2025 or into 2026?
So I think the trend is going to be the rise of the cross-platform and interactive ad experiences on AIG's site. So from our latest reports, we have seen that connecting TV is evolving pure brand awareness into a performance channel. So linking large screen engagement directly, app installs and in-app actions, pairing with precision retargeting on mobile creates a new full funnel. So this matters because acquisition costs are rising, and app stores are prioritizing retention. I would also expect more gamified and interactive ad formats, things like playable ads for non-gaming apps, or mini quizzes inside social creatives to boost engagement before users even install. So, my alternative answer for this one as well, maybe in next 12 months, marketers who can connect multiple screens and use interactive creatives to keep users engaged across the entire journey, not just the install stage.
Yeah, that's amazing. We'll be on the lookout for your most recent data to see that, but that's super, super interesting. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Andre, to you. One trend.
Yeah, mine will be a little bit of a long shot, but I would say with raising of AI content, it would lead 100% to a lot of creative fatigue. A lot of people will already say, okay, this is AI generated, this is AI generated, this is AI generated, which will lead to basically lowering some kinds of this kind of content, and eventually to even regulating it from not just from terms of like government or states, not at all, but from terms of ad networks as well. They will be trying to tell you to mark when something is AI created, when something is done by AI, and so on and so on. So it will eventually close the loop with this large-scale content creation that we currently have.
Got it. Got it. Asaf, to you.
So yeah, a quick disclaimer before, because 2 years ago I was on a different webinar and somebody asked me what I think is the biggest flop, and I said AI agents, and I was wrong, obviously, because it's not a flop. It's a real thing that is really happening. But anyway, I think that then moving forward, there's one thing that we should all pay attention to, right? One is workflows. How do we automate and run the entire workflow in a single function or in a single process, and not in a segmented process? That's one. And two, and I challenge all of you here, but I think we're all in agreement. I think that the trend is that the challenge is no longer the production, is what to produce. And I think this is something we're gonna see more and more and hear more and more. If you heard Mark Zuckerberg's statement, he said that by the end of next year, the entire ad creative process would be completely automatic at Meta. So I think this is a process. He basically said two things. He said, we will own the workflow, which I tried to say earlier, but he also said, like, that the production itself is irrelevant. The concept is, okay, what do I produce right now to actually make an impact? So that's the two of my 2 cents.
Thank you. Evelyn, you had one more, and then I'll give my piece, and then we'll jump to Q&A.
What do I have to say?
Oh, you said CAC versus LTV.
Oh,
right.
because
Yeah.
Shaq on the chat, he asked, like, with so much competition in mobile advertising, what are the most overlooked metrics or signals?
Got it.
So I think there's a lot of noise from service providers on LinkedIn and ebooks and webinars about, like, what are the best channels for these type of apps or games and what metrics you should look at and so on. But I think to keep it simple for founders is like CAC versus LTV, and then finding the market and channel that is best for your app, maybe without paying that much attention to all of the best practices. Because what I'm seeing, and this is after I'm working with 200 apps right now, and I see their financials and marketing metrics, so I see the entire data room. And sometimes you find, like, markets unexpected, channels unexpected, that are performing extremely well, and it's because they found their best mix after testing. So I don't think there's just one rule. It's more about finding what's right for each one of the products.
Got it. Thank you for sharing that. We'll get back to the questions in a sec. My trend, I think we'll start to see more hybrid monetization from the monetization side. And as we're seeing in my business is publishers are looking to add incremental revenue without taxing the things that they're already doing. So they're looking at ways to monetize users when they leave their apps. And we'll probably see more trends over the next year with that. All right, on to Q&A. A question to everyone. Can AI-generated creatives outperform human-made ones in emotionally driven campaigns? Great question. Anyone?
I can take that for sure. So definitely, first, the answer is yes, absolutely yes. And I'll give you an example that you would never think of. Trust me, okay? there's something special about AI generated creatives that is non-existent within the personal human like generation, which is this AI feel, right? It's still slightly cranky, it's still slightly awkward. We all see that it's AI, but there's something there. Like sometimes, at least for now, currently, I think the fact that it is an AI generated ad, this is what makes users click. And this is what makes or attract some interest and some attention, and not just the regular, hey, I'm an influencer doing this and that. I think there's something interesting given the buzz, given the trends, given everything that is happening. So absolutely yes, AI generated creatives can significantly outperform human made ones, but not for the reasons you expect. It's not because it's the same quality. It's not because it's a better message. No, it's because it's AI.
That's amazing. Anyone else? Thoughts? Human versus machine?
I can just agree with Asaf. Like the simple answer is yes. Yes, it can. And again, like try it out, and it can work 9 from 10. In one case, it doesn't work. Maybe it will change in a couple of months, maybe not. Like it's an evolution of things. But exactly as I've said, right now when you see something is AI generated, even though you know it's AI generated, the more attractive it might be to you at this moment. Be aware at this moment. It might get tiring.
In 12 months, we won't know. We won't know if it is AI generated, right? All right, another question. What are the biggest creative challenges when building playable ads that balance user engagement and monetization goals? Great question.
Yeah, I would guess I'd take this one as its playables. Don't overthink it would be it's similar to what I was saying in the beginning. Like maybe it's similar to what Asaf said with the AI. Maybe that's why AI is actually successful, because it's simple, it's straight to the point, even though clunky. But we need to do this when creating creatives as well. Like humans tend to overthink. Is it good enough? Should I do 10 more things to push it to do something? No, start simple. Create a video with one interaction. Test it. Is it working? Okay. No, add more interactions. Create something else. Combine things. Combine elements. Show different things. That's it. Like there is no. So just to answer the question, what is the challenge? The challenge is to not overthink yourself when creating anything. And it's not just playables. It's videos. It's images. It's your messages on your website, in your campaigns, wherever.
Yeah, I think Asaf said it earlier, was you have to start with a plan. Like, what are our goals? Right. And then you come back into that. I think, well, Evelyn did answer a question, but I'll ask the question just so everyone knows. The question was, with so much competition in mobile advertising, what are the most overlooked metrics or signals that marketers should pay more attention to when analyzing ad performance? And this is where Evelyn mentioned CAC versus LTV. I don't know if you want to add anything else to that, Evelyn, but
I would just love to add one thing. Again, sorry guys, but it's about the creative and not necessarily the media signal, which is again, it's an obvious one, maybe not. So two things. One is viewership rate. We tend to look at viewership of the first 12 seconds of the video, and then compare the viewership to your other videos, but also to, let's say, the averages or the top performers and so on. You won't believe what you'll learn just by looking at the viewership and when exactly users are viewing, when they're clicking, when they're churning. This is one. Two, correlates to this is the hook score, right? The hook is the most important thing within the creative. When optimizing, we think CAC, we think LTV, like we just said, we think eCPM sometimes, or CPC, CPI, whatever. We're overlooking the hook score. The hook score, it's the but, right? It's this thing that makes you click. It's this initial impression. There's no second chance for a first impression. It's exactly this. Zoom into this. Try to optimize this part, and you'll see how CAC to LTV improves. You'll see how LTV improves, CPI goes down, and so on.
Awesome. Great advice, Asaf. I think we're at time, unless there's any more questions. I want to thank the panelists. I want to thank SocialPeta for putting this together for us. And looking forward to the next 12 months and revisiting this with every one of you.
Thank you, Robert. You were amazing.
Yeah, no,
Thank you,
guys.
everyone.
Look forward to seeing you guys all soon. Thank you, guys.
Have a nice
See
day.
you.
Have a
Thank you.
nice day.
Bye.
Bye bye.